What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about all things hanging leg raises. I'm going to give you as many modifications that I can think of as you can make to your hanging leg raise, so you can go from zero to professional gymnast level and hit every step along the way. First of all, let's jump into some form do's and don'ts. The first do is that you want to maintain passive shoulders when doing this exercise. This is going to focus the work onto the core, the hip flexors, to make the most out of the work that you're trying to do. Often I see people doing a hanging leg raise and they start using their lats and their scapula and they'll be pulling themselves up, and it's almost like a front lever, and it's going to take away from that core work. And it's often a compensation to say that you're not strong enough to do that progression. Or you can use stool bars to make sure that you're getting minimal compensation out of the lats. The second do is to control the full range of motion, using your strength and your control to make the most out of the exercise. There's going to be avoiding the typical CrossFit toaster bar kipping sort of action. You're just trying to kip your way through the hardest elements of this exercise and not really going to get the true benefit from it. Next, let's talk about a couple of modifications you can make so that hanging leg raise can be done at any ability from beginner to advanced. The first is body position. This is going to refer to the position of your legs. First, we have the tuck position. This is going to keep the center of mass a little bit closer to the body, making the exercise easier. And it also doesn't have the requirement of flexibility that you will have when you want to do the pike variation. And next jump up from this would be the straddle. Although quite an uncommon variation that you don't often see, it is a good way of bridging the gap between tuck and pike. It's going to work the muscles a little bit differently, but it could have some good transfer over to the straddle front lever, but also the straddle press to handstand. Finally, we have the pike. This is going to be the most common position that you see people doing the hanging leg raise in. It's going to move that center of mass out from the body, making the exercise harder, but it's also going to have the requirement of good flexibility in the hamstrings to do a full range of motion. If you want to improve your hamstring flexibility, I have a really popular video explaining how to properly stretch your hamstrings that I will link to down below. The next is range of motion. This is going to refer to how you are moving through that hanging leg raise. The first would be just not moving at all and performing an isometric hold. This would mean holding a static position, most likely in that 90-degree position where your legs are going to be parallel to the ground, again maintaining that passive shoulder position. This exercise can be performed anywhere from 6 to 30, maybe even 60-second holds, depending on what you're trying to achieve. The next would be partial range of motion. This means only moving through parts of the full leg raise. The easiest would be going from a dead hang or 0 degrees up to 90 degrees. This is going to be the easiest range of motion to perform, but it's a good progression for those looking to do a full pike hanging leg raise. The next partial range of motion would probably be the hardest progression that you can do, and that is going from 90 degrees to fully locked off at 180 degrees. This is the hardest progression because you're essentially spending the entire time in the hardest range of motion for the hanging leg raise, and you're not getting any sort of momentum from the beginning part either. This is going to keep constant tension on the core, and it's going to really challenge your strength. Finally, to round it all up, we have full range of motion. So this means just going from that dead hang all the way up to 180 degrees and all the way back down. Remember, again, maintaining good control throughout the whole range of motion and not letting your feet drop. You can perform this exercise from anywhere from 5 to maybe even 20, 30 or 50 reps if you're like a beast elite level gymnast. Finally, a couple of extras that you can throw into the mix to change up the stimulus that you're getting. The first is twists, and this would mean incorporating more of an oblique element into the hanging leg raise. This is probably more commonly referred to as a windshield or windscreen wiper, but essentially instead of just going up and down in a straight plane of motion, we're going to be going from side to side. This could be done in that isometric 90-degree hang position, twisting the legs from side to side, or it could even be incorporated into a full range of motion, in a sense creating circles with your legs whilst doing the hanging leg raise. Again, you'd want to perform this in a similar rep range to the standard hanging leg raise, although this is going to be considerably harder. Finally, as a little progression for those who are struggling to get the full hanging leg raise, you can use a little bit of mechanical advantage to your benefit, and that is doing a tuck to pike hanging leg raise. So this means you're going to do the concentric or raising phase in a tuck position. When you get to that max range of motion at the top, you're going to extend out your legs, and then you're going to slowly controlled do the eccentric or the negative portion back down with your legs in that pike position. This is a good way of building up strength to be able to do a full pike hanging leg raise whilst avoiding those common compensations that I mentioned earlier. So if you were to take all the different modifications that you could make to the hanging leg raise that I've mentioned in this video, you could probably do 30 different types of hanging leg raises if you really wanted to. So it's a great way to mix up your core training and get a different stimulus in your sessions to really keep making some good gains. But that is it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can also do so by buying yourself a Bodyweight Warrior t-shirt, which is available in the description down below. If you have any questions about today's video, just leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer your questions. But that has been it for this week, guys. Have a strong week and peace.